Good evening and salutations, my B&B fans. I'm not gonna lie, this episode is weird because I wanted to say this episode was interesting, but it really wasn't. I think it was just interesting the way they did it. Because usually with shows like this, especially this one, they usually have three acts. They have, two main stories that's going on, and then you have a filler. Today's episode, it was just literally about Steffi, Ridge, and Brooke, and then you had Hope and Liam. That was it. It was just literally two acts, and I'm still just like wrapping my head around that concept. Like, wow, they didn't even actually bother to just put in a third act just to drag out the clock. Okay. I'm gonna be honest, it was a little bit kind of rinse and repeat. Brooke was there talking to Hope once again, trying to be like, hey, you sure you want to do this? Deacon's a liar, Deacon's this, blah, blah. Deacon's a liar, Deacon's this. Just not being on board, but not going at her to the point where it's like it's forcing her to move up. Because like she said, she was like, yo, if we're not going to sit there, if you're not going to let me have my relationship with my dad, where I live, then I'll just go somewhere else. So Liam gets home. And, at this point, Liam doesn't know anything about what's going on. And, Brooke brings up, she starts bringing up stuff like, oh, make sure you're both on the same page, or something like that. And Hope was like, listen, I need to talk about myself. So Hope, I'm not gonna lie, Hope does what a lot of people do when they are afraid of, talking about a particular subject with someone. They'll go around in circles for a little bit. And I'm just like, sweetheart, we don't got that much time. We got like 18 minutes. This is what our commercial, 17 minutes today. We don't have time for this. So eventually she does sit there and say that she wants a relationship with Deacon, and, Deacon's change, and, he's a different person, and he, she loves him, and yada, yada, yada. The usual pitch that she's been trying to give to everyone else. Liam is apprehensive about this whole thing. He's not going to change. He's a criminal, We shouldn't let him around our kids. And of course, Hope brings up the fact that, like, yo, listen, weren't you and your dad, like, just in prison, like, not that long ago? How many mistakes did he make? And yet we still allow him to spend time with his, with his grandchildren. And hell, even at that point, even Liam was like, yeah, that's, you got a point about that. But with that being said, he's still a little apprehensive. He doesn't want to sit there and argue with her because, like he said before, he doesn't want to be the husband that's, like, telling her what to do. Now, on the other side of town, you got Steffi. That's just... This girl is something else. Ridge, first of all, bringing Justin to, I guess, spy on Deacon and Sheila to make sure that they're, see if they're up to no good or whatever. But, Steffi was, it was one point where she was like, well, I know Liam is not the type of person to sit there and tell Hope what to do, but in this case, he should sit there and tell her what to do. I'm sorry, sweetheart. How would you like if Finn told you what to do? Yeah, that whole little bossy pants attitude, it wouldn't really fly in your house, though, would it? But you want Liam to sit there and tell Hope what to do. She brings up the fact that, she doesn't feel safe bringing her kids there. It's just this whole big conversation. And of course, Ridge is all like, oh, well, we got to sit there and do something. And, Steffi was like, we got to do something now. We got to stop this. I was like, how? How are we gonna stop this? I mean, she was the one that was just voicing this constant opinion of We gotta sit there and stop this. We gotta sit there and stop. What are you planning on doing? Kidnapping him? You plan on taking him out? What's your plan? I just love how she just kept Cynthia just going on and on and on and on and on about how we should sit there and stop him, this, that, and the third, and yet you didn't come up with a single idea. Not one. I'm still waiting. I understand that, you know, Deacon has a history of just not being a good person. She doesn't want that around. Because, you know, even Ridge was like, you know, Hope wants to sit there and try to see the best in him, wants to invite Deacon into her life. The problem is, he's not just going to be in her life, he's going to be in everyone else's life. More or less. You know, they're one, you know, they're kind of like a close-knit family or whatever. Even with Liam and Hope and, with Liam and Steffi, you know, as far as sharing a child, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're all intertwined, so, you know, I understand that, like, alright, he's going to sit there and be in everyone's faces and stuff, but once again, Ridge, how many mistakes did you make in, I don't know, your years of living? And not like the small ones, I mean like the big ones, like the unforgivable ones, you know, the ones that, you know, people forgave you for. And same thing with Liam, you know, Liam is all like, well, you know, he talks about how he's not going to reform and, you know, how many mistakes are you going to make, and I'm just like, the whole time he's sitting there talking like, bro, how many mistakes did you make, Liam? Because here's the funny part. Even when I just started watching this show, and I saw Liam, I saw his character, I was like, you know, I can tell that you must have screwed up a couple of times, didn't you? Like, I could just tell that he was one of the family screw-ups. I just really felt that. You know, I felt like he was the type of person that screwed up, and people forgave him, and probably his family kind of bailed him out of certain situations, but yet you're sitting there talking all this crap about Deacon and how he can't be forgiven. Now, I understand that he is apprehensive about the fact that, yo, this guy's going to be around my children. I don't know if I'm okay with that. You know? I get that part. But, you know, if Hope thinks it's weird, because it's like, one parent's rights or one parent's opinions shouldn't override another parent's opinion. You know? Like, Hope sits there and feels that, you know, listen, my kids are going to be around, they're going to be safe around Deacon. He's fine. You know? But Liam has concerns, and I think they're valid as far as their kids is concerned. And I mean, maybe Hope is kind of like going about this a little bit too fast. There's one thing. If you want to sit there and get to know your dad one-on-one or whatever, when you start bringing in the kids, they're not just your children. They're his children too. And yeah, I am calling him a hypocrite because he's acting like a hypocrite, but that doesn't invalidate his feelings. Now that I think about that, the whole time you had Ridge and Steffi and Brooke talking about Deacon and how he can't be trusted and he shouldn't be away, he should be away from the family, and Steffi really going in on Hope as far as like, oh, well, how could she do that? This, that, and the third. She's not thinking about the family. She's not thinking about Liam. This, that, and the third. I'm just like, so what is everyone's plan? Because for the past 8 minutes, all I seen y'all do was complain about how this guy shouldn't be around your family or your children. But not one person has said, what are you going to do about it? Do you have a plan? No, we're just going to sit here and, and pretty much kind of waste company time talking about, how we got to stop Deacon. Or, how we're upset that Deacon is back in their lives. Because that's what it really comes down to. What are their plans? They're just going to sit there and just keep badgering Hope until she just, falls? Because, with situations like that, the only thing that's going to wind up happening is she's going to dig under her heels even further. And she already gave, Brooke, and by extension, Ridge an ultimatum. Which, to be honest, when she told Liam that, Liam was like, I'm sorry, what? Did you just say that we were going to move out if you didn't let your deranged dad decide to have more visits with you? And you did all this without really talking to me. And how even she said that, and she was like, yeah, normally we sit there and make these decisions together, but what? But what? No, I want to hear but the but part. Well, what about that part? And I remember when she said something about like her feelings, or she really felt strong about this or whatever. It's like, no, we normally make decisions together, but in this one, yeah, I just kind of just made it by myself. I don't really have an excuse for that. That's what it felt like. That's what it felt like that situation was. Like when I read that, it was like, okay. Like I said, this episode was pretty short. I mean, yeah, it was 17 minutes long, but it felt pretty short because there was pretty much no middle ground, which is actually great. I'm not complaining about that whatsoever. I mean, hell, whenever you can cut out the middle person that's just not really doing anything as far as moving the story forward or moving their own story forward, it was like when I watched the episode with Paris and Thomas and his son. It was like, all right, that's cool, but like, is this moving your storyline further? Because I already knew they were just there to run on the clock. But I'm like, okay, cool. But is this going somewhere? No. So we're just seeing you for absolutely no reason to bring up awkward questions. Yep. Okay. So, in a way, I actually liked this episode. And in other aspects, it was like nothing really happened. So, like, there's that. Anyway, with that being said, I'm pretty sure that's about it. If I missed anything, please write down in the comment section below. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe. I will see you in the next video.